Welcome to the Family First Retirement Podcast with George Politarhos. For more information, visit betrayawealth.com. Now, let's get to the show.
You say it always and often. My door is always open for that second opinion on your retirement plan. So how often do you see that, especially this time of the year, people coming in for that end of the year review? Maybe they're saying, I haven't heard from my advisor enough in 2024. Tell me some of the big reasons, George, that people are coming to you for that second opinion.
Well, yeah, I think one of the biggest reasons, Mark, is they realized they're not they thought they were a number.
Yeah.
And they went and they were put into a box. So they went to one of those big box firms and they said, oh, okay, you're getting ready to retire in 3 years? Here you go. Have a great day. And they slide you down the assembly line because you are just like everybody else. And guess what? You're not. And you finally opened your eyes up and realized that I am special. So they're coming into some place that we treat everyone as an individual, obviously. So when you call us, our office, whoever answers the phone is not going to say, what's your customer ID number, please? And go through all the lists. And it's not being answered in Iowa to talk to someone in Wilmington. You're calling our office, and they're coming in because they want that personal touch. They didn't get enough attention from their advisor. They didn't get answers to their questions from their advisor or the firm they dealt with. Maybe they had an idea the plan they had been spoken about was going to do X, Y, and Z, and it didn't. And when you call for insight, you're given I would say the doctor talk. You know what I'm talking about, Mark? When you go to the doctor and you hurt your shoulder, you think you're sore. So you go to the doctor and he says, well, you have a gluteus back. That's a hiney, I know, but a shoulder-ish terms. And you're like, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
And he says, you sprained your shoulder. Put some ice on and you'll be happy. We sit there and say, put the ice on and be happy. And we go through it in common language. Whereas these other firms are talking these big words that you don't understand because as young children, I think we're kind of trained not to ask questions. We're trained to think that everyone else knows the answer and you don't. So if you question it, you show someone that you're not knowledgeable.
Right.
That doesn't happen here because the only question that's stupid is the ones you're not asking. And if your advisor cannot explain something to you in 3 or 4 sentences max, well, there's a problem,
right?
I think, because we are not reinventing the rocket to go to Mars, or better yet, not having the rocket get caught by the arm like Elon Musk did, which is kind of just mind-boggling to me.
Yeah.
But we're talking about your finance, your retirement, your lifestyle, what your dreams are, what your wants are. And that's why they come in for that second opinion. They want to feel good that what we did is the right thing for us. And when you come in here, there is no sugarcoating, folks. When you come to Betray Wealth, my team and I will not do that to you. If it's good, I'm going to say, you're in a great place. I wouldn't change a darn thing. Let's keep the course of action. If it's not good, I'm going to tell you, we have some errors here, some problems I can foresee that we need to address. And you don't have to do what I said. Mark, let's call a spade, right? You don't have to do what I say,
right,
or what I recommend. But then you lose the right of saying, I didn't know. Why didn't you tell me that? And that's what this is about, that second opinion. It goes hand in hand, Mark, with our customers that we do our annual reviews all year long. If they're not talking to you 3-4 times a year minimum, there's a problem. And that's what I think really separates Betray Wealth from our competition. Whether it's a big box firm or it's a company down the road, no one's going to give you better service, better understanding, and enlightenment to where we're going to go and how we're going to get there.
Right.
So when you call us at 302-330-2166, we're going to help you get the answers to the questions, give you the guidance you need, and line you up for the next 10, 15, 20, 25 years of your life and beyond.
George, you mentioned it's like going to the doctor and they use that doctor speak that just goes over your head. Yeah. I don't want to compare it to exactly what you do, but I go to sit down with my doctor. All right, let's see what's going on. Let's try to make you a little bit healthier. I know I'm fat, doctor. You don't have to keep reminding me again and again. It's the same way where people may be intimidated to come in because they're like, I know I've made mistakes in the past. I know I probably didn't allocate enough to my 401k. I probably didn't take my pension serious enough. You're going to have these hard conversations, but you've said it before that we're not going to harp on the past because that, George, that's in the past.
Mark, you're married.
Yes, sir.
I'm married. Leslie has to tell me something once, and don't keep just, I didn't do this. Just don't keep reminding me about it.
Right.
And she doesn't. Why the heck would I do that to someone else?
Mm-hmm.
Hey, listen, we all know the past is the past. And you know what the really funny thing is? There's not a damn thing we can do to fix it. We can correct our emotion going forward, but I can't fix what happened behind us. So let's stop.
Yeah.
We know there's a problem. What is going to be the answer to get us in a better place? What's going to be the opportunities to get in a financial strength that we can go forward and be able to sleep at night? We always talk about when you can't sleep, what I do when I have something worried, whether it's about the boys, whether it's about, XYZ, my brother, my sister, whatever, I wander the house at night. Me and the dogs eat really well at 2, 3, 4 o'clock in the morning with leftovers. I don't want that for you. I want you to be up at night because you want to be up, not because you're worried about what tomorrow's going to hold.
Right.
And we're going to get you that to go back to sleep. And I want you to sleep. So that's how we work with you when you come in here. You're not the principal's office. You're a part of your family. We're going to have a good cup of coffee. We're going to see what's going on, where we want to be, and how we're going to get there. And that's what our job and agenda is when we work together.
302-330-2166. It is a judgment-free zone at the Betrayal Wealth Group. We've all made mistakes in the past. George isn't here to tell you about those mistakes. He's here to help you improve your future. 302-330-2166. We have a representative standing by right now to get you on the calendar to sit down with George and the team. You can always get more at betrayalwealth.com, P-A-T-R-I-A, wealth.com. Speaking of home and your home life and being married, Tom Papa is a comedian, been around for about 30 years now, got a Netflix special on called Home Free. I want you to hear this clip. He recently admitted that, speaking of his house, there have been some changes lately.
We dropped off my last daughter, my last child, my youngest, off at college, and they're all gone now. And nobody tells you how hard it's going to be pretending to be sad. Not one tear. Not one tear. I really thought I was going to cry. I feel so bad. But I think I might be happier than I've ever been.
Saying the quiet part out loud, Tom.
And George, that's not me, by the way.
Yeah, what happened when your boy? Well, they left and then they came back. And they left and they came back, and you work with them.
I love my boys. When they went away, I was beside myself.
Yeah,
it crushed me. I'm glad, and I couldn't. Real funny story, folks. Alex went to college, and Jared did not want to go with us, take him to school. He just didn't want to be emotional around his brother. So Leslie and I had an agreement that there was no tears, no crying in front of Alex, only because I didn't want him to think that he was doing something wrong or bad.
Right.
So we took him in. Him and I carried everything up to his room. Leslie made the bed, put the clothes away. Only time it was ever clean. And we went and did all the shopping stuff he wanted to do. And we're getting ready to leave. He goes, "Okay, you can leave now, Mom and Dad." Get out. And Leslie's hugging him, and I can see her. You start to cry. So I'm like, all right. I grab my shoulders. Let's go. We got to leave. We got to leave. We go. I give him a hug and a kiss. Tell him we love him. We get in the car. We pulled off campus. I had to pull over, and I literally couldn't drive.
Oh no!
I was so crushed and devastated. It was same thing with Jared. That I don't know how he's saying how happy he is. When the boys went away, I just felt like, oh my God, my baby.
Yeah. Listen, don't feel bad. My daughter is 11. We'll drop her off for weekend camp. And she's not more than 10 miles away from the house, but I'm like, have they posted pictures yet? Is she having fun? Who's being mean to her? I will punch an 11-year-old if somebody's being mean to her.
It is so true. You're absolutely right.
Sucks. 302-330-2166. But these are the emotions that we deal with as adults, as parents, as grandparents. But George, it's also the emotions of retirement, finding that purpose. What's next? Taking the emotions out of finally being retired. So how do you help people with, all right, I'm retired, now what?
I always tell when we talk about retirement, what are your wants in retirement? What do you want to do? And when they say, I don't know, I have a feeling you're not ready to retire.
Mm-hmm.
Now, there are exceptions to that rule, obviously. My sister-in-law, Denise, just retired a couple weeks ago. We had a retirement party. And I said, Denise, what are you going to do now? She goes, I'm going to do absolutely nothing. And that's what I want to do.
Good for her.
For a little bit. But I think we need to have that goal. We need to have something to replace. How many times, Mark, have you heard stories about John, who worked for 40 years? He retired and there shortly after passed away.
Mm-hmm.
You hear that a lot. And I think it came that they had nothing to look forward to anymore. I think you need to do something, whether it is doing something you love. You worked at a job for 25, 40 years, folks. You went to work every day because that's what we do. We go to work, we take care of our responsibilities. We plan for tomorrow. And you never loved it. Or you loved it at one time, and near the end, you hated getting there. It was a job.
Yeah.
And you get a chance now. You retire. You did everything right. You turn on Social Security. You have a pension. You have a 401k, a TSP. Now what? Maybe start doing things you love. Go back to doing things you enjoy.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe in the case of Mark, I know Mark's going to play golf more than he does now, which I don't know how that's possible. Or maybe you want to work in your garden. Or maybe it's volunteering at a local charity, which, Leslie and I used to volunteer at the Alzheimer home here in Wilmington with a couple of our dogs, with therapy dogs. And that was really rewarding, I'll be honest with you. But you have to find something to do every day, Mark.
Yeah.
You got to have something to look forward to. And I truly believe most of us, even though I maybe don't like people all the time, but I think you need to be outside the house talking to someone. But I'm going to help you get those. I'm going to ask you those questions that you don't want to ask yourself.
Yeah.
Or that your spouse is worried about asking you because he or she's scared about the answer you're going to give them. So we'll go through that with you together. And then make sure you have something to look forward to. Because I want you in the next stage of life, maybe it's traveling, taking those trips.
Mm-hmm.
My brother Pete and Denise just got back from Alaska, from a 2-week trip to Alaska 2-3 months ago. And now we're planning. They're looking forward to a trip that we're talking about doing as a family to Greece. I think you need to get those things going in your blood.
Mm-hmm.
You need to have something to look forward to, a reason to get up. Leslie's thinking about retiring now. Mark, did I tell you about that?
No. That's
trying
big.
to get her to retire. Yes, huge. And not maybe completely, but maybe only half-time, part-time.
Yeah.
And I said, now you can take care of Archer. Or whatever your goals are.
Mm-hmm.
But that's what it's about. It's about what your goals are and having a plan. And we're going to help you do that. That's part of being in a family, is to help us get through those things.
Okay. 302-330-2166. Again, 302-330-2166. Helping you find purpose into and through retirement as well with the help of the team at the Betrayal Wealth Group. George, I want to get personal with you for a second. Let's talk about your succession plan. Because when people call and they want to initially start working with you, they want to know that, look, George, if I'm going to work with you, I need to know that you're going to be with me for a while. And I know eventually, not anytime soon, eventually you're going to want to retire as well. So what does the future look like for the Betrayal Wealth Group? What does the next, if I'm retired for 30 years, what does 30 years of Betrayal Wealth look like?
Now, I just told you a few minutes ago how you had that job for 30, 40 years and you hated going there in the end. You hated being around. I'm so blessed that I love what I do every day. Doing the show with you, Mark, working with my customers on a daily basis. I love it. I can't see myself stopping even though Leslie's going to retire and do other stuff, I can't see me stopping doing what I'm doing. But, I'm really lucky because I have sons.
Mm-hmm.
Jared's here in the company, and Jared is the heir and the future of our company, along with Achilles. Angie's older than I am, and it's, Angie's a bear at what she does. She's great.
Yes, sure.
But will she be doing it like we're doing it now? Well, she's doing it now? Probably not. But we're so young in those regards that you have the foundation. You're going to see me every day when you come in here and call. You're going to see George. But you're also knowing the whole team at Betrayal Wealth, which is Achilles, which is Jared, which is Angie, and our business relationship with Ernie. And the team's growing by leaps and bounds.
Yeah.
We have some other announcements coming up, but you're going to see some new faces coming, new offices opening, because we're not going anywhere. And when you come here, it's your family, right? The family gets bigger and bigger. You don't lose control.
Right.
They don't just go away. It just gets bigger and better. And that's what Betrayal Wealth is doing.
Well, I like that little tease for maybe some big news into 2025. Big things coming for the Betrayal Wealth Group. All right.
It's going to be Christmas in winter.
I like that. PatriaWealth.com, P-A-T-R-I-A Wealth.com to meet the team. You can also schedule that initial no cost, no obligation consultation from the homepage at PatriaWealth.com, or we invite you to call 302-330-2166. You were talking about Achilles and Jared, and I've seen this firsthand. George keeps it old school with the whiteboard, but you got Jared and you got Achilles with the iPad right behind him taking notes as well.
Yes.
So you've got it on both sides. Nothing wrong with that.
Hey, folks out there, we're that generation now where we're mid-50s to 70s, right? And computers are not new, but technology is constantly changing.
Yes, sir.
And I'll sit there and I'll say to Jared, Jared, how do I do this? And that little, he comes over,
millennial,
and he gets on my computer, goes, touches his hands on this, all this. I'm like, what the heck did you just do? You told me. I said, no, I need to know how to do it. So I still am a pen and paper kind of guy.
Yeah.
I put all my notes in the computer after I'm done. And these guys are back on these iPads doing all this stuff. I'm like, what the hell are you doing? There's a whiteboard right here, because I truly believe when you come in here, folks, we're going to do some artwork.
Yeah.
Remember the artwork your kids used to do in school?
Yep.
You put it on the side of the refrigerator.
Yep.
I still have those pictures. I have one up on my wall right now that Jared did when he was a little boy. I still have it. We're going to do drawings and pictures on whiteboard. When you come in, that's how we're going to lay out your retirement and show you what's going on. So if you don't like whiteboards, you don't like being mind boggled, I do some funky colors. That's what we're here to help you with.
302-330-2166. Every small business owner needs somebody under the age of 35 nothing else but the technology aspect of it all. And you're lucky you've got a full team around you, George. Again, you can meet them all at BetrayWealth.com. And speaking of, Jared does great work on the Betray Wealth Group YouTube page.
Unbelievable.
I'm looking at it right now. Short, informative videos. You don't have to invest but more than a couple of minutes for each one. Full video podcast of the radio show. I'm looking at maximizing your spousal survival benefits, smart retirement strategies, understanding annuities, diversification, get to know you from videos from the entire team at the Betray. All of these available at the Betray Wealth Group YouTube page.
All that stuff you see there is by Jared.
Yeah.
When you're part of our Big Fat Greek family, you're going to be reached out often with information, stuff to tell you about things happening in the world, not just in an email but also our YouTube, our Facebook, all the newest information, because some people like to read. I love to read. I'll be honest with you. Nothing better at nighttime than sitting in my chair with something to drink, a glass of water or soda, and reading a good book. I love to read. Because it takes you away, right, folks? Mark, I don't know if you're a reader or not, but every time I read a book, I get to go someplace else. Some people like that. Other people like to watch the book as a movie or listen to it, right?
Yeah.
That's why we have podcasts. People like to listen to things. Or maybe like to watch that movie on Amazon or Netflix. We have all those spectrums covered. If you want to read, Jared sent it out to you in an email showing what we're talking about. If you like to hear it, you can listen to the radio show. You can listen to the podcast in your car. Or if you like to just visualize it, he puts it there for you. He is such a guru about this, getting you to understand and to answer those questions you're thinking about.
Yeah.
Going back to the days, I don't want to raise my hand because Mrs. Kelly, my first grade teacher, who I hated, Mrs. Kelly would make you think you were a fool if you asked the question. You felt like that? We give you all the spectrums to go to. And that's why we're here to help you. When you call us at 302-330-2166, you get to become more than just part of the Betray Wealth Group, become part of Betray Wealth family.
Yeah.
Because we're going to give you the Family First Retirement Plan. We're going to go over all the questions you have in black and white. So there's no gray area about your retirement. Whether it's talking about your income, what you're making now, and where the income is going to come from in retirement. Social Security maximization. When are we going to turn it on? It's a huge question. Long-term care, Medicare. The biggest question, Mark, what is it?
Taxes and income.
Taxes nasty 5-letter word, but you have to address it. We have changes coming. We know that in 2025. We got to assume only what we know to be true, but we have to plan for it. We got to know we're taking it out of the tax-free account, the tax-deferred account, the taxable account. RMDs, where's it coming from? Allocations, assets under management, because you need risk. Folks, in retirement, we still need risk, but I need that safety net. I need safety. God forbid the world goes a heck in the handbag. I need safety. And obviously, we're talking about having emergency funds.
Right.
It's not a one-sheet page, right? It's a plan, but it's a simple plan because we make it very simple to understand. And we have the avenues for you. So give us a call, 302-330-2166, and let's take the next step to getting into this plan to understand where we're going to go.
So you talked about one of the biggest questions that people have, one of the biggest strategies you work on every day is taxes. You have the advantage of having Ernie Colias, the in-house CPA of the Politarhos Wealth Group, available when you work with George Politarhos. Is that now with, the dust has settled, Trump getting ready to officially move into the White House in January, is that still the biggest question, the biggest concern? Is it the Trump tax cuts? Are they going to continue? Is it going to be what does the future look like under a Trump economy? And I don't mean just to base it all off, President-elect Trump, but what are the people, your family members, your clients, what are they talking about right now?
Everybody's worried about taxes.
Yeah.
And we all have our views. I voted for Donald Trump 3 times.
Mm-hmm.
That's my personal belief. But with that being said, we're planning on things we know to be true. Do I think the taxes are going to be extended? I think so.
Mm-hmm.
But I can't promise you that. What I can promise you, Mark, is one thing, that the end of 2025 tax plan right now will be changing if they don't do anything. So let's assume the worst case scenario. Let's plan. Are we going to do Roth conversions? Are we going to start converting some of this money to not just Roth accounts, but some totally tax-free accounts? IULs, for example, planning for our children, our grandchildren. We talked a few weeks ago about RMDs and how we can use RMDs to feed other things we need. And let's take an example. I have a customer who recently passed away up in Westchester. Very nice man, great husband and wife, self-made man, 100%. He died at 92 years old. But what we started doing years ago was taking his required minimum distributions and building generational wealth. Remember that word, generational wealth, to his grandchildren. You need a plan, and the Family First Retirement Plan helps you get to where you need to be by answering these questions. And always, my job is to look at the worst case scenario, Mark. The same thing with our retirement, and that's what my job is. So give me a call, 302-330-2166. Let myself, my team, help you get the questions answered, and let's get lined up to go forward. Because at the end of the day, whose money, Mark, are we talking about?
My money.
My money. Whose choices are we talking about?
My choices.
And whose decision are we going to make?
My life. Well, let me phrase that. It's my wife's money. It's my wife's choices.
Yeah.
It's my wife's decisions.
And that's a happy marriage right there. But that's our job, and we're here to help you accomplish that.
Insurance and annuities offered through George A. Politarhos, Delaware Insurance License Number 1373121. Annuity guarantees rely on the financial strength and claims paying ability of the issuing insurance company. Read your contract for restrictions, limitations, or penalties.